Yes, this is our fourth call, and so I also just started the recording.
Okay, no worries. Now,
Um,
do you know if has anyone had a chance to use either the top-down product line description, so people are joining with a larger pack, or maybe even already offered someone the generous referral bonus yet?
so so I did do, this is Dawn. I did do the top down a few times, and it's working. I have not sold a 30-day system since, or like the basic 30-day.
Really good.
There are a few people that want to, they ask me what is the price, and so I'm like, well, let's get on the phone so we can talk about it. It's a lot easier, and then it's crickets. So I think they're just waiting. Like, I'm not sure what the deal is there, but whereas before, I would kind of like, I'd tag them in a post, or I'd give them like a quick little synopsis. So I'm not verbally, or I'm not typing anything down as far as prices anymore. So
Would you consider doing a video, Dawn?
yeah, I can do it.
If they won't get on the phone, what if you did a little video that when people ask you that question, you just did the verbiage for them?
Sure. So it would have to be a 90-second video.
Well, it would be about almost 2 minutes. Yeah. But you've seen the video that I did on the farm where I just described them all, right?
Yeah. I can't do it that fast.
Well, that's okay. I mean, yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, okay, yeah, I can make up a video. That way I can always have it and send it.
Yeah.
And
I've encouraged people in public, if you've got the product around, just having as an example how much is in a business builder's pack on a table, and then how much is in a president's pack on a table, but have it divided into the 3 systems. So they can see, well, here's the president's pack with all 3 systems, and this would be your pace setter pack with 2 systems, and this would be your 30-day with only 1 system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And Lori Olson, Don, she shared with me too. She kind of did in a message, she got it wrote down, just kind of pretty much took the same verbiage or whatever. And she does it with Messenger too. And I've done that, and I've actually been having more success. I mean, I've done 2 president's pack, and like you, it's at least pace setters most of the time. So that's helped a lot. So
with typed version.
Yeah. I mean, you could be a text. Yeah, so she's created a document she cuts and pastes in.
Yep, it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the script. I mean, she pretty much took the script and just did that and just kind of made it her own just a little bit in a few places, and she shared that with me, and so I kind of have tweaked it a little bit to make it more me, and that's what I've been doing too when people are asking. And I think that way they, people just don't want to talk on the phone. I mean, because I have that all the time too. It's like they come to me, they're interested, and they want to know. And then as soon as I say, can we hop on the phone? It's like gone. They're just gone into thin air. They just vanish, And so I found with a few people anyway, that message, getting the information to them has seemed to help, because then they kind of can digest it or whatever. And then they tend to end up coming back to me. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
The key concept is describe your whole product line. Now, the only thing that is a challenge with scripting is ask the question whether they think their partner is going to do it with them now.
Yeah.
Say that part.
Because you do. Well, you want to ask that question. Do you think your partner might want to join you doing this, and then showing them the PK pack?
Yeah.
Because it is the best value for a family, and it illustrates the business instantly to them. Right?
Right.
Because even if you just show someone the PK pack method, you've just illustrated 5 of the 25 ways that we get paid. You illustrate cycling, PIBs, double PIBs, rank advancement bonuses, and crystal rank advancement bonuses, just by showing them how to sign up their partner and one other person. So that's my only concern with writing. Still make sure you ask that first question do you think your partner might want to do this with you?
And I think that's how she ended her message, is I think she said, you know, I think that question was in there, or something to that effect was in there at the end of it, talking about
Good.
if your partner's interested in doing it too, I can show you how to do that and the bonuses that are available and stuff. So
excellent. Excellent.
Well,
excellent.
One girl, I think her husband, she would be interested in getting her husband going on it. And then the other one, I'm not so sure, but for sure one of them, I can work on that.
Excellent. But the starting at the top and going down, I mean, all it is don't turn it into a half-hour read. But when you start at the top and go down, people want to land in the middle. They just do. And it's not a trick. It's just showing them their options from the top down. They're going to want to land in the middle.
Okay. Well, and so then when we last left, I asked you about like going to everybody and giving them like the personal, like I would give them $50 or $100 if they advance to consultant by the 31st of April.
Yes.
And I had one person do it.
Excellent.
And that made me executive.
Way to go!
yay!
So, well, and actually, I think since we've talked, I've rake advanced twice. I went 2-star first, and then I hit executive.
But the great news with the new way that you go 2-star, you can be a 2-star as a crystal director.
Yeah.
As a director.
Yeah, and that's what. Well, I was just a plain director, not crystal. So I was a 2-star director, and then I went crystal executive. So.
But it used to be if you hit 2-star before executive, there weren't any bonuses. That changed as of January.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, you had to be executive to go 2-star and get that bonus before.
Oh.
Yeah, they put $3,500 into new places in the compensation plan in January.
Well, good.
Awesome.
Yeah, because the 5-cycle bonus, right? You can get that 5-cycle bonus twice. That's brand new money. There's $500 there. And now you can go 1-star as a manager. So the first time you make $540 a week, PIBs and cycles combined, they give you an extra $540. And the second time you do it as a manager, they give you another $500. You guys are aware of that, right?
Yep.
And knowing that 1-star isn't 10 cycles, 1-star is PIBs and cycles combined, adding up to $540.
Okay.
You do that?
Yeah, well, you explained that on the last call because I couldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out how I hit 1-star when I did because I only had like 8 cycles.
But with PIBs, you can cross the line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with 2-star and everything above. It's the cash amount, PIBs and cycles combined, and that's why they moved it, because people would hit those numbers, but they weren't executive yet. And Isogenics said, no, if you hit those numbers, we got to give you the money.
Yeah.
So you can be 1-star manager and 2-star director. Well, that's $3,500 that moved as of January. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
When you consider all the crystal money together is only $2,000.
Yeah.
It's a bigger deal than the crystal money.
All right.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on 2 rank advancements.
Thanks.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a busy few weeks. My personal recruiting or enrollments have been low, but I've been dipping down and trying to help other people in my line. And so I think that's what's helping.
But remember, I don't know if you saw the post I put up last week about 300. You still need to give 300 minutes a week, 5 hours, to your own enrollments. Now, that isn't just enrolling people. That's all of the contacts and follow-ups to get someone enrolled. It's helping them have a great product experience, and it's getting their products paid for and their people's products paid for.
Okay.
So getting someone from not enrolled all the way to manager, we call that an enrolling conversation. And you don't want to give away all your time to everyone else and not focus on those people who have turned to you specifically.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And it's not a lot of time, but I guarantee you, you got to count out the minutes. You got to give the 5 hours to your own enrollments, or you'll start to get into management mode, and that's when everything kind of falls off.
Okay. Got it.
I put up a picture of Gerard Butler from that movie 300 on it, and that was how I posted it. It's a big picture of Gerard Butler with a six-pack and a big spear. He's going, 300. Yeah. So let's talk launch parties. Would that be okay?
Yes.
We've got 6 different types of launch parties. There's always new ones being created. We're going to talk about one this week and then the other 5 next week, because this is kind of the skeleton for what we want you to consider can be done with your launch parties. And we call it the inspirational launch party. And it's, to start with, launch parties are important. You can't just switch to opportunity meetings. Opportunity meetings are about having speakers, and someone is good at public speaking, and everyone in the room begins to believe that unless you're a public speaker, you can't actually build a business. And that is not the message you want to send, because 98% of the population is afraid of public speaking. Where launch parties are not opportunity meetings. They aren't where there's a speaker and someone's talking for 15 or 20 minutes or half an hour. That is not a launch party. That's an opportunity meeting. And it might be in your living room, but it's not a launch party. Launch parties are much more interactive, and they're shorter, much shorter. In fact, our goal for you is to be able to have a 35-minute presentation. And by the 36th minute, your guests are already test driving those great products. They're seeing what stuff tastes like. Now, why do you think we want you to be having them tasting some of your products as early as the 36-minute mark?
I don't know.
Well, psychologically, if you say, hey, let's test drive these great products, at the 36-minute mark, what goes on in their head is, well, she said it only takes 10 minutes to join. I guess if it tastes good, why don't we just join now and go home? People still think hour to hour. So if you don't leave time within the first hour for them to join, they don't think you want them to join at the launch party. They think they're supposed to taste it, but go home and think about it.
Oh.
Now, this isn't a theory. We've proven it. We've cut people's launch parties by 60 minutes and quadrupled their on-site enrollments just because they left time for people to enroll. Can you see how that could be possible?
Yep.
Yep.
Now, the other thing is 35 minutes goes by really quick. Boom, blink, and you're trying to shake her a bar or a nice light. And it means that people aren't afraid to bring their friends because it goes too long. So you're actually your invitation goes up because you get known for having shorter launch parties. Can you see how that could be possible?
Yeah.
Yep.
And because they're not opportunity meetings, anyone can take part of them. Someone could join this week and be hosting a launch party the next week because none of it's rocket science. We've dumbed it way down. Just like the script, we dumbed it way down. Why? So people could do it immediately. So there's a little bit of a recipe. This is kind of like a 5-layer dip. There's a recipe to making an inspirational launch party. At the very top, we have 2 back-to-back product testimonials. 2 back-to-back product testimonials, and they're based upon 3 very specific verbs: I felt, I love, and I am. I felt, I love, and I am. So first I felt. We like to not share a bunch of medical statistics or even weight and size numbers. We just want to talk about how we felt before we started enjoying superfoods. Now, you guys tell me some ways that you felt before superfoods.
Tired. Disgusted with my body.
You know, tired is the number one answer when we ask that question. Number one answer is tired. Isn't it interesting we talk about weight so much when actually the number one felt need is actually feeling exhausted? Maybe we should talk about energy more. What do you think?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you also talked about your body. You said disgusted. We could be discouraged. We could feel overwhelmed, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Can't say depressed because depressed, of course, is a clinical term. And we don't diagnose any diseases, right?
Right.
Right.
Now, when we only talk about how we feel, we accomplish two very important things. Number one, we stay compliant. I hear things at launch parties that shouldn't be said. Why? The statement is not compliant. It sounds like we're curing a disease. But the other thing is, we also don't lose any of the audience. Imagine Bubba gets up at the front of the room and he's really excited about his product experience, but he says, I was 60 pounds overweight and I was a type 2 diabetic and I had gout in my big toe. Now, it's a cool story, but the skinny chick in the front row just stopped listening because she thought gout disappeared in the Middle Ages. People still have gout? Yeah. Oh, wow. She's now checking her latest Facebook post. Why? Because she's not 60 pounds overweight or a type 2 diabetic, and she didn't know that gout existed. But the same guy could say, I was really discouraged, overwhelmed even with my relationship with food. What to eat, when to eat, how often to eat, all that stuff. And because of that, I'd have spikes and valleys in my health and my energy. But Isogenics gave me a great new relationship with food. Well, that's the guy with gout in his big toe and the skinny chick in the front row. You don't exclude anybody. Do you see how that can be possible?
Yeah.
Yep.
We stay compliant and we don't exclude. Now, when we come to talk about products, we're used to being a little nerdy about the products. And here's the problem with being nerdy. Nobody cares what you know about the products. They would just like to know which one do you love. So if you ladies each had to pick one product that you love more than any other product, could you tell me which one's your absolute favorite?
The shakes.
Yeah, I'm basic with the shakes.
So one of you picked shakes, so the other of you can't. So what's your favorite flavor of shake?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Don't you think sometimes that Isogenics was created by an 11-year-old boy with freckles? What are you eating? I'm having a chocolate shake for breakfast. What do you have for lunch? Strawberry. Oh, cool. We have for a snack. Big chocolate bar. Really? And this is all good for you? Oh, yeah, it's perfect for you. Fantastic. All the stuff that we were told growing up you shouldn't eat, we now have in our diet. That's weird. I pictured Dennis the Menace with his overalls, with the one overall not attached, and he's making up Isogenics.
Oh.
So you love chocolate shakes. When do you have your chocolate shake?
Right away in the morning.
First thing. That's how you start your day.
Yep.
So chocolate shakes are off the table. You have to pick something else that you love.
I guess I'll go with the cream crisp bar.
Ooh. You're kind of going with the Dennis the Menace theme, aren't you?
I know.
Yeah. Well, think of it. Look at what we tell people they can eat that's good for them. Doesn't it sound like 11-year-olds giving out health advice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? If you don't like that one, there's one that has oatmeal and raisins with it, or this one's over here. Really? That's supposed to be good for you? Oh, yeah, we've got 5 of them that are all chocolate. I can have a chocolate bar and it's good for you. It's fantastic for you. Yeah, I don't believe you, Dennis. I don't think you should be giving out health advice. Now, are you someone that makes sure you've always got a bar on you in case you get the hunger pangs and got to go for it?
Well, luckily I work from home, so I don't have to plan that way so much. But if I do travel, I usually throw a bar and some fiber snacks and just a few things in a cooler and have it with me. So
that's the hardest thing about traveling, is trying to find something decent to eat while you travel, isn't it?
yes, it's impossible.
You know, they recently did a study, and they found that though they may taste better, there isn't a lot of nutritional difference between a high-end restaurant and drive-through food.
Really?
Yeah, restaurant food, period, isn't good for you.
Oh, great.
Well, what makes it taste so good is because it was baked in butter and bacon. You know, you just didn't know it.
True.
I said that on one call, and a whole bunch of them says, "Yeah, we can vouch for that." I said, "Why?" I says, "We're all in the restaurant industry." Oh, really? And not drive-through? No, we're kind of middle end. Says Ann says, and if you eat our stuff, you're going to get really fat.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why when people have to travel for work and like their life is on the road, that's a major challenge.
Yeah.
Well, even just us, we were on the road for 2 days. I was sick last night. Why? Because I tried to eat food I shouldn't eat. Felt awful. Didn't get a decent night's sleep. Why? Not enough good food in there.
So you didn't travel with your shakes?
No, no shakers. No shakers with us. We were at a bars. Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, I can't really travel with shakes because sometimes they do funny things to my belly that you don't want to be in a car when it happens. Yeah. Yeah. Shakes are not reliable travel food for me. Bars are okay, but not shakes. No. They put a lot of fiber in those boys some days, and some days that my belly just kind of goes, well, that wasn't very nice. Stop that. Now, what you find at a launch party, and this is hard for people because we're used to doing a slideshow and talking about the 5 pillars of health and talking a lot of science. What we found out was if you talked about how much you loved a product versus how much you knew about a product, people were more apt to want to try what you loved than the science class you offered.
Well, and that makes sense because in theory, our product page, if they're probably in the product page, and so they've already seen all the videos that you would show them, and they're getting the science, they're understanding, reading articles and things like that. So when they come to a launch party, there's not really a video to show them because they've already, in theory, should probably have already seen all the videos.
Yep. And then when we try to repeat them in our, verbiage and training and stuff, we fall short of what they got already.
Yeah.
What they can't get on a video is an in-person testimonial where someone's excited about something they loved. That doesn't translate into a video, does it?
Nope.
And that's the mistake. We're trying to duplicate our online presence at a launch party where we don't need to. And we'll never be able to do it as effectively as Isogenics can. So don't try. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
But what we've been able to prove with the inspirational launch party, because people are very skeptical when they first try this and going, we usually do a whole slide deck about the science. I go, yeah, your enrollments will go up if you cut that out. Why? Because most people don't know what you're talking about.
When it's boring and...
Yeah. Oh, great. It's 7:30 and I'm trying to live through a biology class. Great. Cool. Nice. Right? Not only that, imagine I had just gone for a great steak. Now, I did. I went to Texas Texas Roadhouse, and I had ribs there. And I thought, last time I had ribs, it was really kind of small. I'm about to take a long drive. Maybe I'll get a double rack of ribs. I could barely finish the half rack. It was fantastic. Had great barbecue sauce on it. Had some nice sweet corn beside it. It was fantastic. Now, if you like ribs, you'd go, wow, I'll try that out. You like the flavor. I really like the flavor. In fact, I gave half of it to my sister-in-law. She was going to eat it for lunch the next day. The servings were huge. Okay. Or I could say, do you know at Texas Roadhouse, they only serve black Angus ribs. Now, let me just tell you about the heritage of the black Angus cow. They originally came over from Scotland, and they were interbred with another breed of cow, and then they became black. And my cow that I ate, his name was Bob, and he was raised in Omaha, Nebraska. And he came to where I ate at the restaurant in a Peterbilt truck. Now, the trucker's name also was Bob, which is a little ironic, isn't it? Bob's riding the truck, and my cow's name was Bob. Now, if that's how I describe the meal, one, you'd never ask me another question because I'm weird. But two, you wouldn't know if you wanted to have the meal because all you gave was information.
Right.
That's kind of how we are sometimes with isogenics. The cow's name is Bob. Yeah, who cares? Does it taste good? Do you like it? Yeah, okay, that's what I need to know.
Okay.
Here's why. It isn't an intellectual decision to buy a President's Pack. It's an emotional decision. Most large purchases are completely emotionally driven, not intellectually driven. Yet we spend an enormous amount of time just feeding the brain, not touching their heart. When you switch to the inspirational mode, you actually bother touching their heart. How do you feel? How will they feel? All of that. And it actually inspires them to want to get going more quickly because you're not trying to turn it into a science class. It's more inspirational. Can you see how that could be possible?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, the last verb is the fun one, and it's something that we don't normally talk about, and it simply is the I am. How is my life different going forward because of my product experience? Now, are either of you enjoying something new, new maybe for the first time in a long time, or new period? You haven't done that before because of your product experience. You've been able to do that.
I've kind of started running, and I never was able to do that before. So I've kind of started to be able to get into that.
Excellent. Excellent.
Not me, not really.
Mine is my motorcycle trip last year. We're getting back into motorcycle season now. And, we put 30,000 miles on our motorcycle last season. The bike was 16 years old and only had 77,000 miles on it. And we put 30,000 in 1 year.
Wow.
We had a blast. We had a blast on it. I did 14,000 miles by myself in 60 days and just had an amazing time. Now, when I told some people about that, they said, well, wow, that's a lot of riding. Yeah, I had a great time. And they kind of thought I was too old. You do remember you're 50. Says, yeah, so? Yeah, but, 1,000-mile days? Yeah, I got all the energy for that. At 50, you're doing 1,000 miles a day, 18 hours, and then sleeping for 6 and then doing another 18. Yeah, I did that back to back. Oh. How? Oh, I've been putting superfoods in my body for 7 years. I got tons of energy.
That's another.
In fact, when we drove here, right, we drove around the clock and didn't stop till Friday. We left Thursday night and then stopped Friday night.
That is true for me too. I am existing on way less sleep than I ever have. I mean, I used to require just a ton of sleep, and now, I mean, if I get 6 hours, I'm good to go. So
yeah, I don't need as much sleep. And on my cleanse days, I don't sleep. Like, I can't sleep.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot sleep on my, it's very, it's hard for me to fall asleep. It's very, on and off. But the next day I'm not tired.
Wow, your cellular cleanse is really firing on all cylinders, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, all my other days, it's amazing sleep. My cleanse days, I don't, like, I don't sleep. And at night, like, I get tired, but then I lay in bed and then I'm not tired enough to go to sleep.
Wow, you should plan extra things you get done on cleanse days then.
Right? And that second day,
Wow.
I go to bed because I want to eat something. And I'm like, if I go to bed now, my shake will come so much earlier in the morning.
We had one gal, when he asked what her I am was, she said, well, I'm going elk hunting. I said, well, you're going to have to unpack that one for me. Why is that a big deal? She says, well, my husband and I grew up as teenagers together out in the country. And that's what we did as a couple when we were teenagers. We'd go hunting in the fall. And even as a young married couple, every year we went hunting together. She says, and then I had 3 babies, and I got out of shape, and then my health went way downhill. She says, it's been a decade since I've gone hunting with my man. And this year we've got a sitter. I'm in great health, and I'm spending 2 days like a teenage girl out hunting with my bow. And she felt like a little girl again, just because she recaptured her health through isogenics.
That's awesome.
Now, when you do 2 of those back to back, 2 I felt I loved, I am, I felt I love, I am, I felt I love, I am, you now create 6 kind of hooks for people to want to try what you're talking about, because they're emotionally driven verbs. This is how I felt. This is the product I love more than any other product. And this is how I feel because I am doing or experiencing something new for the first time or the first time in a long time. And that makes people right out the gate in the first 6 minutes, they want to go try a shake. And that's what we want to create right out that gate, is that sense of expectation and desire. That make sense?
Yep.
So that's the first of the 5 layers. The second layer is an inspirational product video. An inspirational product video. Now, this means we aren't showing Are You Toxic? Because that's not inspirational. It's just kind of scary. For this one, we have to kind of stick to the IsaBody challenge videos. Too many of our product videos are a little too nerdy. So we stick to the IsaBody videos. Have either of you ever gone to YouTube and looked up how many IsaBody challenge videos are on YouTube?
No.
40 or 50 of them. Now, an IsaBody challenge video, in order to have that in their title, it has to be 3 things. It has to be less than 3 minutes. It has to be completely compliant and very inspirational, or they can't use the title. So you can actually look at who you're expecting at your launch party and see which is the best story to retell when it comes to this product video. Have you both seen the Kelly and Xander video?
No.
Yeah, she's our 2013 IsaBody champion. It's Zander, Kelly and Xander. Great video. Less than 3 minutes long. She's every working mom in the world. You know, busy job, 2 little kids, trying everything to stay in great shape, even running marathons. Couldn't do it with exercise. And her story is very inspiring. I'd really encourage you to watch it. Now, we don't show long videos at launch parties. Why do you think we don't like long videos at launch parties?
Because it makes it boring. Gets people.
Yes, it sucks the life out of the room, doesn't it?
Yep.
Because unless you're enrolling the Amish, they have iPads at home. They could watch a long video at home. They don't need to go to a stranger's house and sit on a stranger's couch behind another stranger to watch a 12-minute video.
Right.
They really will hurt the energy in the room if you show long videos. And I've been saying this to Isogenics for a number of years. Shorter videos, guys. Don't make anything that's double digit. In fact, we don't like anything at a launch party longer than 6 minutes. And most Isogenics product videos go 9 to 12 minutes. Too long. Too long. Can you see how that could be possible?
Yeah.
Right after that inspirational product video, the third layer is something we call a silly success story. A silly success story. Now, all a silly success story is, this is all we're going to say about the business. There isn't any big scripting of you plus two, then plus two, or anything here. All it is any kind of a story where, well, you thought the Isagenix accountant might have a drinking problem when you got the email, right? You'd done the math, and you went, wow, really? I wasn't expecting that much money. The inadvertent earnings. Have any of you guys ever had any inadvertent earnings?
Yeah. When I got one of my first director pool, like bonuses added, I was like, what in the world? Like, I still have that email saved.
Ah. Now, why do we want to show that you made money and you didn't even know how much money you could make? Why do we want to make you a little silly here?
Just to show how easy it is.
Yes. We always say the dumber the better because all the guests are dumb. And there's been some pretty amazing ones out there. We just heard of one from Chris Harder. I don't know how long she was building that. This woman never spent any of her Isagenix money. She just left on her debit card. And she talked to her about her husband, and he said, well, I don't want it to mess up the rest of our accounts. I want you to go to the bank and just put that in a private business account. Don't put it in with the rest of the money. She said, okay, honey, whatever you say. So she went off to the bank and told him, you know, I've made this money with this company Isagenix, but I haven't checked it. I need to set up a separate account. And he says, you don't know what is on the card? She says, no, I've never checked it. I've just been building. Guess how much was on her card?
$50,000.
$55,000.
Wow.
Wow.
Which, of course, she thought was hilarious because her husband said, yeah, don't bring that into our accounts. You know, you just leave that separate for you. She said, yes, dear, whatever you say, dear. Absolutely. I won't let you touch this $55,000 at all, whatever you say. Yeah.
Well, I have been keeping it a secret from my husband how much I've had on my card. He hasn't seen, like, I've left it all on my card. He doesn't see any money come out of our checking account or anything for Isagenix because I use it all from my Isagenix.
Nice.
He said, we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to sit down and talk and make some decisions about 401k and Roth IRA and like, or, you know, all these things that we're contributing to and decide which one's most important. And I said, well, let me show you something first. And I showed him my balance on my ISA wallet, and he was like, what? Like, could not believe what was on my ISA wallet. And I was purposely holding it back because I didn't want to show him until I got like a really impressive number. And, you know, I would get these notices like, you know, certain amount kept being added to my account. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting there. And finally, it wasn't to the point where I wanted to show him yet, but that conversation came up. So I felt like it was the good time. And he was impressed. He goes, well, that's going to make decisions a lot easier.
And doesn't it feel good to be able to do that? And even what it costs to stay active with your Isagenix is being paid by Isagenix?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this is only a benefit.
Well, and the other thing is our next addition to our house is now going to happen sooner.
Nice.
Awesome.
All because of Isagenix.
Yes.
Nice. See, that's a nice concrete thing that you can really feel you've contributed that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. See, you could tell that story, right? We don't want to come across, though, like we were some kind of a business genius that did this, though. Because, like, I wouldn't have an Isagenix millionaire tell their story at a launch party. Why? Because no one really believes they made $1 million of it. Sorry, they don't. Why? Come on. You can't make $1 million doing this kind of stuff. Don't put that piece of doubt in their head. So we try to keep it simple. And if we can, a little silly. You know, like one couple from Alabama, they thought the debit card was a gift card, so they spent the money and they threw out the card.
Oh.
Just thought Isagenix would send them a new card every time. Why? They were making money, but they didn't know how the money was delivered. They didn't have a clue. And I actually told that story, and I used this phrase. So this couple from Alabama, they were so dumb. And then I told the story, and everybody laughed in the room. And then I said, yeah, that was us, PK. And they raised their hand at the back of the room. I felt really bad. Yeah. And I turned red, and they said, oh, don't be embarrassed. We tell the story the same way. And they're this lovely, sweet couple, but, you know, they were from Alabama, and it made a good joke, you know. Yeah, I forgot that Alabama was beside Atlanta. I'm Canadian. How would I know that? Now, right after our silly success story, we would share an inspirational opportunity video. And as we've shared, two of our favorites are the opening video from startyourlife.com, a little 3-minute montage. Love that montage. And the other one is the Isagenix difference. That's right on the edge there. It's 6 minutes long, but it is a nice inspirational opportunity video. Would you agree that those are good and inspirational?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, again, we aren't going to do U+2 right, as an inspirational launch party. It's not an informational time. It's just an inspirational time. Just like how we talked about I Felt, I Love, I Am with the products. We want to have that same kind of energy when we talk about the business.
So we're only going to show one of them?
Yeah, one of them. Yeah, pick one of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, after that, we would share their options. So we would actually use the top-down product line description. I mean, it doesn't matter if you use your own words or not, as long as you get all 4 packs in a short period of time. Don't turn this into a 10-minute talk about the packs, or they'll pick the smaller pack. That description is short on purpose. Keep it short, but start at your top and go down. And if you can, do it in under 2 minutes. Because as we know, when we do that, people feel inspired to pick those middle packs. So now everything that we just talked about in a launch party takes 30 minutes. So now we're actually closing the room. That 5th layered part of the recipe is the closing. Now the closing is so specific, we have a video on our YouTube channel to give you the verbiage. And it's called Launch Party Closes. And it sounds like this. Many of you think that if it's good for you, it can't possibly taste great as well. Well, our stuff tastes amazing, and we'd love for you to give it a test drive. Now, when you decide you want to get started tonight, come back into this room. We'll have 3 stations prepared for you, so you can choose how you want to get started immediately. Here at this first station, we've got enrollment forms. Please get together with the person who brought you to the launch party. They'll go through your best next steps going forward, and you'll receive your product in 3 or 4 days. Here at this second station, we have some laptops open, connected to the internet. We can show you your own online store that is live to 1 billion people around the world instantly. And it has your name in the address bar right up there beside isagenix.com. And then finally at this station, for those of you who are a little ticklish about sharing your private information with a third party, we'll connect you via a 3-way call with a customer service professional, and you can give your private information directly to them. So let's test drive these great products and let's get started. Now, what do you think happens when you give people 3 options for how they can say yes?
They say yes.
They pick one. Now, people want to skip this step. I can't stress it enough. Do not skip the step. Now, if you're in a time zone where Isagenix customer service care isn't going to be open, still mention it. Still mention that it's an option, because almost no one picks it, but you need to mention it so that you're clear with your guests. We are cognizant of your security concerns. We don't take that lightly. Handing over someone your social and your credit card number and your date of birth, those are very trusting things. Make it very clear how trusting you are, that you allow people to know you're cognizant of it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Also, never hand out enrollment forms at a launch party. Make people get up and do something and then go get an enrollment form. Because if they look at the enrollment form without doing it with the person who brought them to the party, they'll just stare at that form like it's hieroglyphics, fold it up and put it back in their pocket. But if they go over it with the person who brought them to the party, completely different response. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yep.
Now, one last thing before we go any further. At the beginning of the party, I'd like you to have 3 or 4 little green gift bags at the front of the room that you don't mention until right now. And as they're about to go out and do the taste testing, you say, oh, by the way, I forgot. These little bags here are gifts from us as leaders. What we call them is your first 3 are free on me. And what they are is, we've only made 3 of them here, but for the first 3 people who join tonight, you can actually begin your product experience tomorrow morning. Because we have 6 shakes and 3 sticks of ionics, a couple bars and a couple isolites in every one of these. You don't have to wait for your order to come in. We want to make your first 3 days free on us. So for the first 3 people who join, you'll be able to take these gift bags home and get started immediately. So let's test drive these great products. So what do you think happens when you put that extra incentive in?
They're not going to go home and think about it because they want to get started right away. Everybody wants to get started right away. So if they're like,
that's right.
Well, let's hurry up. Let me be one of the first ones to get started so I can get this bag and I can get started right away. Then I'll have my stuff here.
And what we found was no matter how many bags you make, you never take any home.
Huh.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it's simple. Now you're thinking, you know, that's expensive. Yeah, but we're going to enroll people with President's Packs. Multiple people with President's Packs. You're going to get $160 per order. Why don't you give back $25 to them in product when they start off? And one of the things that it did, it actually ended any buyer's remorse. One team that actually instigated this out of Atlanta, they've never had anyone change their mind afterwards at all. Because when maybe their partner says, well, what did you get started with? Well, here, I'll get you to taste it. I'll make a shake for you. And it removes any of that, oh, well, it's ordered, we changed our mind kind of foolishness. It disappears. What do you think of that idea?
I like it.
That's awesome. Yep.
It really works. Everybody that reports back says the same thing. Wow, wish we would have done the gift bags earlier. People pull the trigger quick. The first 3 are free on me. Now, anyone who doesn't join at the party, we call them back within 3 days with a simple question. And the question, it's also on our launch party video. The question simply is, what question was it that you needed answered before you get started? What question was it that you needed answered before you get started? And what we found was shorter party, 3 options to join, and the 72-hour callback. We now have had 40 launch parties with 100% enrollment. Every guest enrolls. It's really hard to beat 100%.
Yeah.
The record is 9. No one has enrolled more than 9 at a single launch party, but that launch party was for one person who was beginning their business, and her first night as a builder, she had 9 new associates.
Wow.
Yeah. So what do you think of that shorter, kind of inspirational version? Sound doable?
Very doable.
Amazing. So much easier.
Do you see, though, like, for instance, slideshows. When someone says, are you showing a slideshow? My immediate response is no, because the average person has no idea how to teach to a slideshow. So why would you do anything at your launch party that a guest couldn't do the next week? And that's why we dumb it down so far. Like when I train in public, I don't do a slideshow. I have a whiteboard and a pen, and I talk. There aren't any slides. Why? It's not duplicatable. I don't do things that aren't duplicatable.
Okay.
Remember, if we're creating a duplicatable model, then we're creating a business model. If we're doing something only we can do, we've just created a job. And we don't want Isogenics to be a job, do we?
No.
We want it to be a business. Businesses have to have duplicatable models. For instance, iPhones are all handmade. They aren't made by machines. iPhones are all made by hand. Well, if only one person in the world could make them because they were so complicated to make, that'd be a failure because we couldn't make them fast enough. Well, it's no different than your Isogenics business. If your model isn't duplicatable, you really can't have very many people join you. And you can't make any money because you've turned it into a job. Make sense why we simplified it?
Yes, it does.
Yep.
I like
And
it.
because of this simpler model, we've been able to see people build their business at a much more drastically fast pace because you don't need to wait to be good enough or practice enough to do anything because it all stays this simple the whole way. And next week, we'll go through the other 5 types of launch parties, and they're actually even shorter. This is the longest presentation we have. They are even shorter, and they're actually even more party-oriented versus meeting-oriented. Most launch parties aren't parties, they're actual meetings. And we've got some models that are actual parties, and they work. And we'll go over those next week, okay?
Sounds good.
Do you know, oh, here. Do you know when the next launch party week is? Oh,
It's this week. This is launch party week.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So hopefully this will give a little bit of a format for the team to follow, and we can kind of use the launch party in a maybe more powerful way.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, we'll catch up next week, guys, and we'll do the last 5.
All right. Thank you so much, PK.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great week.
You too.
Bye-bye.